Hey guys, Andrew Houston here from Profit for Contractors with trading tips in the truck. Hope you guys are having a great day. Wanted to get right into this. I got to share the story with you. You gotta listen to this one. This is one of the biggest things that I did that I had to realize. Let me just get myself set up here. That I had to realize that if I didn't, you know what? I think I would have made all those sacrifices, all those hard years, all those, hey Alex, how's it going, brother? All those, times of darkness, all those times of doubt and sacrifice. If I didn't do this thing, I would have really, put those things to waste. I mean, let's face it, okay? One of the biggest challenges that we have is that we're putting in all this time, all this effort, all this energy, right? Alex, I love you joining here, my man. And we've got to make it worth it, right? We've got to make all those years of sacrifice, totally worth it. So let me just close my door. Give me a second. So one of the things that I did, guys, that I had to realize was I had to really come to grips with becoming a true freaking business owner, okay? And there was a specific thing that I had to recognize. And it was something that I was, be honest with you, I was pretty afraid of. It made my hands sweat when I thought about it. It was something that I wasn't comfortable with. It was something that I really didn't even want to look at because I was afraid of what I was going to see. So lots of different things, right? And that was understanding, guys, my numbers, okay? Here I was running my automation company. I was working 70, 80 plus hours a week. And I was getting more and more work, from $500,000 to $1 million contracting company to a couple of $1 million contracting company. And as I kept on growing, as I got busier, as I got more work, it freaking drove me crazy that I was actually making less. There was less money in the bank, right? I was working so much harder for so less, and I just couldn't figure it out. So it wasn't that I wasn't putting in the hours. It wasn't that I wasn't trying hard. But I had this little tap on my back, and it would come up probably once a year, maybe once every 6 months. And that was understanding my numbers, okay? Here's the thing. Too many of us come up with the solution of solving our problems. If we're not making enough profits and we're not making enough cash flow, what is one of the key things that we do as far as trying to solve it? We put in more time. What's another thing we tend to do? We end up, getting more sales. Like, oh man, I got to get more sales. If I get more sales, I have more cash flow. I have more profits. Guys, you've got to stop. If you are looking at your bank account right now, Alex, if you're looking at your bank account right now, if you're looking at, all the effort that you put in, and it does not equate to the amount of profit and cash that you should be seeing growing in your bank account, then guess what? The reality is you're doing something wrong, okay? And the reality beyond that is you're doing probably a whole bunch of things that are wrong. Now, you're doing a whole bunch of things that are right, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Hence why 80% of most businesses fail within the first 5 years. But the reality is that you're doing something wrong. Now, in order for you to know what you're doing wrong, guys, you've got to look at the scoreboard. You've got to look at the scoreboard. Otherwise, all those days of darkness, all those years of stress and frustration, all those, times of sacrifice, of not being with your family, of like, oh man, hey, saying to your spouse, hey, like I used to say to my wife, I used to say, hey babes, it's going to get better, okay? It's going to get better. This year's going to be a different year, or this month is going to be a different month. It's not going to be a different month. It is not going to get any better. It's actually going to get worse unless you know what the true freaking problems are, okay? And one of the core ways of knowing the true problems is you've got to know your numbers, okay? Now, I'm not going to bullshit you to say that, that's like a magic wand, boom, you're going to learn it, you're going to know it. No, it's a skill set. It's something that you have to learn. I mean, look at how many years that you've put into this business of yours. when I was running my automation business, man, I'll never forget. I came out of trade school, become a licensed electrician. 5 years later, I come out and I swear, like, I don't know anything, right? I don't know how many of you guys can relate to that. It took years and years and years for me to become really, really good at building automation lines. And I became very good at it. Now, it helps to be naturally inclined, but you can learn these skills, guys, and it doesn't take 5 years to learn. But yeah, it does take time and it does take effort. But look, if you're not willing to look at the scoreboard, then get the hell off the field. Get off of, the field of being an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur out of the whole team needs to know where to focus, and they need to know, because here's the reality. Your profits and cash flow. So now let's talk a little bit about more specifics, right? If you're looking at your profit and loss statement, and that's not the only document or report you got to look at, but let's just talk about that for a second. What is at the bottom line as far as your net profit? It is an accumulation of a whole bunch of different things that either took profits away from you or it made you profits, right? So we've got to analyze our numbers so that we know where the problems are. We know where to look. We know, where the fires are. We know what's working and what's not working, because it's not magic, guys, okay? Your profits are an accumulation of a range of different things. So one of the first things you've got to do, guys, in knowing your numbers, okay, is you've got to, so many times people focus in on, hey, what's going to make me more profits? What's going to make me more profits? Hey, we got to find, we got to focus in on the work that is going to make us more profits. Well, that's not the first place you want to start. The first place you've got to identify, guys, is, and Alex, tell me what your thoughts are on this, dude. Hey, Jeff, the first place that we've got to identify are the freaking leaks in profit. You all have jobs that are going on right now. I was running, my, automation company, Houston Contracting. I had all these automation lines that we were building. And here's the crazy part. After I started looking at my numbers and understanding this, and I'm telling you, man, at first, like I said, I was sweaty on the hands. I was, sitting in front of, of these numbers, not knowing what to do. Now, I had the fortune, guys, God bless her, my beautiful wife, of my wife being a chartered accountant. Right? So that helped, right? And she used to keep on telling me, you need to look at your numbers. You need to look at these numbers. And what would I say? I don't have time for it. I don't have time for it. I'm too busy. I'm running these jobs. Hey, you look at the numbers. No, you are the CEO, guys. Okay? My wife isn't an automation specialist. She doesn't know how to build automation lines. She doesn't know how to identify where the core problems are from a profitability perspective. She's not out in the field. Hey, Adam, how's it going, my man? This is what your job is as a champion CEO, a champion contractor, guys. We are experts. We are the Gretzkys in our field, and yet we, don't use that knowledge appropriately to change the scoreboard. Let alone, we don't even know what the scoreboard is. Are we winning? Are we losing? Is it tied? Okay, so let's get into some of these areas, okay, that you've got to look at. So when you're looking at your contracting company, guys, I look at something called, and the very first place, just to stress, is to plug the leaks in profit. If you've got, I'm just going to do this analogy. I've said it so many times. I use the same analogy over and over because I'm hoping it's going to get into the noggin here of the impact of this. You could focus all day on trying to do more profitable work and get new profitable work, but let's just use this analogy. Back to the old, I talk about bottom line net profit, okay? So your bottom line, net profit percentage is basically the percentage. Gretzky needed a coach too. Yeah, absolutely. Your bottom line net profit, guys, is how much money is left in the company, okay, after all the expenses are paid, okay? So when you generate this profit and loss statement, by the way, you've got to, one of the things that I did wrong is once I started looking at my profit and loss statement, I looked at it as being everything on that page as being absolute. You got to be very careful. You got to know how to look at these reports so that you know how to, how to digest, how to translate that information that you're looking at. Because if you don't know how to translate it, you could be looking at data in the wrong way, making the wrong decisions, okay? So here's what it comes down to. Say you're losing we've got many family members in PFC where when they start engaging with us, we start looking at their numbers, we start breaking things down, and they're literally losing thousands and thousands of dollars of profit every single month. And I'm going to show you guys some of the key areas you got to look at. Okay, hey Tim, how's it going, my man? So when you're looking at this, right? Again, knowing the scoreboard is key. You've got to first of all focus on where the leaks in profit are. Say your net profit is 10%, and you lose over the span of a year, which is nothing for most contractors. Okay, nothing, especially during this time of the year where it's super busy. You lose $10,000 in profits due to inefficient crews, getting the wrong clients, not managing the projects properly, not quoting the jobs properly. I mean, man, the list can go on and on and on. I mean, literally, there's hundreds of areas where there's potential leaks in profit. Okay, so losing $10,000, I guarantee every contractor that comes and that we talk to is easily losing over $10,000 a year, if not 20, 30, 50, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in profits because of these leaks. Let's just use the analogy of this contracting company, me, okay, back in the day. I was losing, just to let you know, on average, okay, I was losing on average between $3,000 to $4,000 a month, guys, in these leaks of profit. So think about that. So say it's $3,000 lowball. And I wasn't even making 10% net profit, okay? Just to be straight up with you. But let's just use simple math here. $3,000 lost per month times 12 months, $36,000. Let's just say, for grins, just for easy math, that I was making 10% net profit. I was actually only making about 5, but we'll get to that in a second. I would, okay, to cover that $36,000 in lost profit, I had to go out and get over $360,000 worth of freaking work, guys. Tim, Alex, Adam, all you guys. Jeff, I had to go out and get $360,000 worth of freaking work just to pay for the $36,000 that I lost over all these jobs that were not profitable, okay? Because I had too much stuff in my head, because I wasn't analyzing things. Guys, this is where it comes down to slow down, to speed up. The reality was, guys, I was lucky to be making 5% net profit. I was lucky, okay? Until I started getting this mindset of becoming a champion CEO. At 5% net profit, guys, okay, I had to get $720,000 worth of automation work, do the work to pay for that loss in profit because I was only at 5% net, okay? I'm hoping that you're following me here, guys. The key thing I want you to understand here is less is more, okay? Doing more work, doing profitable work, and having work or things in your business that have leaks in profit. You're having the profitable work pay for the non-profitable work, and you get into this cycle of the never-ending story of not making enough money, not making enough profit, not having the right amount of cash flow to see your bank account go up. And in all honesty, unless you nail this stuff, guys, all the stress, all the heartaches, all the dark days, all the days of doubt, all the sacrifice of time spent away from the family or too many hours spent in the business is freaking gone, guys, unless you get control of this. So when I look at this, hopefully you guys can see this. This here is a bucket. It's a bucket. And I call it the bucket of profit, okay? And in this bucket of profit, we have leaks, okay? Leaks where our profit, right? That's supposed to be a bucket like a pail of water, but this, instead of a pail of water, it's a pail of profit, okay? Here's the thing. In this order, pretty close to this order, okay? What we got to look at, guys, is the first thing we have to understand is this right here, okay? Are we profitable? Okay? That's the first question. Are we profitable? You need to know what storybook you're reading, guys. When you pick up a book, you need to know, if I was going to get you to read a book, and I handed it to you and I said, hey, this is a really good story, it's going to teach some good lessons, you'd be like, hey man, okay, good. I think I might consider reading this. If it was a really bad story, right, you're going to look at that book very differently, correct? If it's an okay story, you're going to be like, yeah, all right. the reason that we need to know is if we are profitable is we need to know what story our business is telling us. If your business is not at the level of profitability, say your profitability sucks right now, that's a bad story. So it tells us that there are some major things. There's a lot of things going on in your business where there's leaks in profit. So the first step, guys, is you got to know the story of your business. Now, if your business is doing really well and you're making good profits, making good cash flow, and you want to take it to the next level, just as much as we got to know, first and foremost, where the leaks in profit are and where the problems are, we also have to recognize what are the things that we're doing well. But if you don't know what storybook you're reading, how the hell are you going to know what to look for? Am I looking for problems? Am I looking for things that are going good? Well, I don't know, okay? You need to know that. So, know the story. Know your story. Next. We have to make sure that we are dealing with what? Profitable customers. I don't give a shit at this stage, okay, in this video. You could be the best person that's running jobs the most efficiently. You could be the best person that knows how to quote profitably. You could be, an ace, a Gretzky, as Alex would say, right? A Gretzky in all those areas, in running the jobs, starting the jobs, finishing the jobs. But guess what? If you don't have profitable customers that are willing to pay you what you're worth, are willing to pay you, it only takes one bad frickin' customer that's a non-profitable customer, especially the ones that don't pay you, okay? And that's going to cost you massive efforts of the amount of work, as we just described in the beginning, of the amount of work you're going to have to do profitably to pay for these deadbeat clients, okay? I call these guys, right, these guys here, right? Hey, Tim, my man, when we're looking at customers, there's Class D clients, deadbeats. They're Class C clients, can't deal with. Those are the ones you cannot allow in your bucket. Because if you have them in your bucket, trust me, you're gonna have leaks, massive leaks in profit. Okay? So customers, guys. Okay? Next, we gotta look at it. And knowing your numbers, guys, is completely directly related to knowing which customers that you should be working with and which customers you shouldn't be working with. Next, we got to look at the type. Okay? Because here's the fact. Most of you guys on this call, okay, watching this, or when you go to watch it, you guys do multiple different types of work, right? Yeah. Well, not all types of work are the same from a profitability perspective, but isn't it funny that most contractors price them all the same? We're pricing service work the same as we're pricing, construction work. And as a matter of fact, when we look at construction work, we're like, yeah, we do construction work. And I'm like, okay, well, how many types? Well, we just do construction work. Oh, interesting. Do you do commercial? Yeah. Do you do residential? Yeah. Do you do industrial? Yeah. Well, those are 3 types, okay? You need to know your types. Because when you know your types and you can leverage your numbers, okay, because we're champion CEOs, we then can identify where are the sweet spots. How many clients, got this amazing client, Gaetan, right, where you might have seen, video on him, or even Debbie and Joe, but let's just say Gaetan. And when we first started engaging, we had a quick little chat. And it was obvious to see that the people that he was dealing with, the tract home builders that he was dealing with, sorry if there's any tract home builders listening on this, he was not making any money on. He was doing, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of work for these guys and making next to nothing. But it wasn't interesting. He was doing, work for custom home builders, which really wasn't his focus at the time, and the profits were freaking amazing. So guess what we did? We got rid of that type of work, focused in on the right type of work, and other types of work that were highly profitable, and literally his profits, guys, I'm not joking. He went from, making next to nothing, like 10K in a year, okay, on in the millions of dollars of sales, to making, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 worth of profits. It's not bullshit, guys. It's because of focus and understanding his numbers, okay? Next, your team. Is your team profitable, right? Okay? You can have the right customers, You could have the right type of work, but if you got the wrong team, then guess what? We got Houston, my last name Andrew, Houston. Houston, we got a problem, okay? Your team must be profitable. Okay, guys, your team must be profitable, because no matter what we do, okay, from here on in, if we can have the best systems in the world, if our team aren't willing to follow systems, if they're not willing to get on board and do what is necessary and be held accountable to get results and be the old A team, be an A team, well then we need to get a new team, okay? Now you might be saying, oh, Andrew, it's hard to get, A players, or maybe you do got some really good players and you're like, how do I handle more work? Well, there's a couple of different ways of looking at that. Number one, you gotta have a hiring system, okay? And by the way, there is lots of skilled people out there that you can get, and I'll tell you really quickly why. Because most contractors are running their business in absolute chaos, and most A players, guess what? They don't want to work in chaos, okay? The jobs the people that I used to work for, out of the 3 employers I had, okay? Get ready for this. All 3 of them I quit because the business was in chaos, right? I'd show up to the job site, hey Billy, I'd show up to the job site, no material, wrong material, okay? Customers would be yelling and screaming at me, I'd be looking like an idiot, and I'm like, hey man, I'm not the freaking problem. But guess what? I was the one that had to deal with those problems. Eventually, I was like, catch you later, right? That was 3 people that I worked for, right? Now, I could have evolved into being a really good project manager. I ended up running my own automation company eventually, incredibly successfully. And think about it. They lost me as an A player, right? And how many of you guys have worked for somebody where you quit because the employer, no offense, ran his business like a joke and was in absolute chaos? Look, if we can't even manage the people we've got, guys, don't worry about hiring more people. Manage the people you got first, okay? Manage the leaks in profit where they're happening right now. So, are you profitable? Right? What leaks do we have regarding types of, the customers that we have? What leaks do we have in the type of business we have in this bucket of profit? What leaks do we have in inefficiencies of our team? And how much of this should you be taking ownership on where you don't have the right systems for them to pre-start a job, to run a job, to finish a job, and they're all running out of their head just like you are? Like, guys, we got to get control of this, okay? The last thing we got to look at, these aren't the only areas. I'm just giving you some core areas of focus to understand the importance of your numbers is quoting. There is not, I'm going to tell you right now, and God bless you if this is not you, I have not met a contractor, and I've been doing this, guys. We've been helping contractors profit for contractors for over a decade, okay? I have not met a contractor that is properly quoting their jobs. That's it, bar none, okay? They don't know their break-even margin. They don't know, what percentage to put on to account for their overhead. They don't know how to price separately for the different types of business, different types of work they have. They don't know how to manage the different cycles of the seasons of business when there's different expenses at different times and different sales at different times. I mean, guys, that sounds like a lot. It is a lot. It is. It is a lot. But guess what? Every single one of these things that I've covered off with you guys, you can learn one step at a time. And it starts right now, guys, with understanding your numbers. If you're not quoting profitably, guess what? You're screwed. If you don't have a team that's running the jobs profitably, whether that's you with a lack of systems that you're giving to them or a lack of leadership, or whether that's you having a couple of bad apples, which, by the way, we all know bad apples create more bad apples. If it's that you don't know what types of work that you really need to focus in on, which ones are profitable in knowing your numbers. If it's, not making sure that you're dealing with only Class A awesome clients, okay, or that the B clients that are basic are moving up to A, then guess what? And we're not profitable, and you don't know your numbers, then guess what? You are going to have serious issues. And you are going to have to deal with not just a lack of profits. You are going to consistently deal with a lack of this guy right here. Cash flow. And here's the thing. The bigger you get, if you got these problems, just like, a good plumber would say, right? You guys know what my analogy is going to be, right? A crack in a pipe a drip in a pipe, when more pressure is applied, creates, right, a huge, hole of problems, right? Hey, Curtis, my man. So guys, you've got to know your numbers, okay? It does take time. It is totally learnable, okay? And as far as people saying to me, like maybe this isn't the right time for you guys to be focusing in on this. Maybe like you're crazy busy. Maybe you're like, you know what? I'll just wait until things slow down. Right? Okay, that's cool. Maybe that's the right decision. No, wrong, wrong decision. Your busiest time is the most important time for you to either make profits, or it's going to be the greatest time for you to lose profits. Okay? If you're looking at your monthly sales coming in, guys, okay? If we got somebody that's bringing in $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, it doesn't matter. But if your sales right now are 10, 20, 30% higher than what they are during non-peak season, okay? Then guess what? You have an exponential amount of opportunity to either make a ton of profits to get you through those slower times, or you're going to use these busy times to suck the freaking money, the cash flow, the profits out of your bank account. And in a lot of cases, you'll never ever be able to recover. Back to my analogy where you talked about, when I was losing, thousands of dollars per month, like $30,000, $40,000 a year in profits, and how, I had to get literally hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of work just to pay for those, and profitable work to pay for those leaks in profit. So guys, you've got to get this nipped, okay? You've got to get this nipped. Now, there is a process that we've got to go through, okay? And there's some really quick insights. If you're not part of the Profit for Contractors, if you are part of the Profit for Contractors family, guys, make sure you go into the membership site, okay? And, when you look at this, you want to look at the training that's called, Leaks in Profit. And the first thing that we want to do is go and assess with the assessment tool, like an audit, on where are the biggest holes in your bucket of profit. That then allows us then to target and get laser focused on how we're going to specifically plug those leaks and improve those different areas to maximize profit, maximize your cash flow. Okay? For those of you that aren't part of the Profit for Contractors family, if you want to get more insights on this, just comment below. You can mention, like say more profits or more cash, or just whatever comment you want. If you want to get more insights, just raise your hand, guys, and we can give you some insights and some free tools to get you started. Because the first step, guys, the first step in anything, in solving problems, is your level of awareness. If you don't know where to look, you don't know where to focus, you end up focusing everywhere and you end up solving nothing, okay? And this whole idea of perfection, like I gotta wait until I got more time, I gotta wait. No, man, now is the time, okay? You figure, if we don't work on this stuff, like now, okay? If we don't even spend 10, 15 minutes, assessing where we're at, then we're literally, all those years of darkness, all those years of sacrifice, all those times, and by the way, one of my biggest motivators that makes me keep looking at my numbers, even during times, even during times where I'm not into it, okay? Because sometimes, there's a lot of times, right? As champion CEOs, we got to do a bunch of stuff that we don't like to do. God love my father, okay? Love him to death, and he said to me, he says, he's a farm, we got a farm and all these kind of things. He was tradie as well, tower crane operator, like crazy, climbing a way up on top of these on these buildings, right? No fear of heights, like crazy Irishman. Anyways, he always says to my brothers and I, he says, boys, he says, no matter what you do in life, there's always a pile of shit, a pile of manure that somebody's got to shovel. And some days you have to shovel it. He says, that's just part of life, just part of the process. And it's true, right? So my dad's into horses and stuff like that, but somebody's got to shovel it. We've got to do things that we don't want to do, and that's just part of the process. I think the champion CEOs that are out there, the ones that become the champion CEOs, are the ones that are willing to do the stuff, whether they like it or not, that's needed. okay? Not that they want, that's needed. And one of the things that drives me wrapping this up, guys, is this. This is big. I look at all those years of sacrifice. I look at all those arguments, those rough days, those rough weeks, those rough months with my beautiful wife. Those times spent away from my kids, right? Where I was like, yeah, things will get better, yeah, I'll have time to be the coach on the bench someday. Someday doesn't just happen by chance, right? You've got to do things differently if you want to get different results. And don't expect yourself to know what to do. I'll say it again. Don't expect yourself to know what to do. Get others that know how to do it, to know how to get you to see what you need to see, right? You look at, wearing glasses, right? You're not an optometrist, right? Their job is to use their skill set, their insight to give you the right prescription so that you can see. You got to get the right prescription. The right prescription for profitability, the right prescription for cash flow. And one of the key things, guys, that I had to do was hunker down, get to know my numbers, know my scoreboard, just like a game of sports, looking at the board all the time. I've almost become, and I love it, almost addicted to it. Because small little changes, guys, can have massive, massive impacts, okay? So if you want to get some more insights on this, okay, just comment below. If you're part of the Profit Contractors family, make sure you go to the membership site, guys. Make sure you get on the group coaching call, okay? We can look at your numbers. We can break things down so you know exactly where to start and that we got a game plan for moving forward. And I'm going to be going deeper in the behind the scenes on the Profit Contractors group to go a lot deeper into reading your numbers, understanding them, and applying them. All right? So guys, that's it. Don't wait for perfection, because if you do get to perfection, you've actually waited too long. All right? This is Andrew Houston from Profit Contractors. If you're not part of our contractor tips group, click the link below. Again, you want to get more help on this, more insights, just comment below, and we'll get you guys what you need, okay? The fact that you showed up here, okay, is a good step. But you got to take the next step, and the next step, and the next step, okay? Otherwise, you're just going to be in this vortex of pain. And do not use this bullshit excuse. Look, I've been there. I was doing the 70, 80 hours a week. Yeah, I was, okay? I had to take the time. And some of those steps in time was just taking 15 minutes, okay? Just pausing, okay? You need to pause to look at the scoreboard, because if all we do is just do, we're never going to become the champions who we're meant to be, and we're never going to have what we need to have. I have this little formula, I learned it from a really smart guy back in the day. I think it was Jim Rohn. Anyways, maybe it was Brad Sugars. Anyways, where he said, be times do equals have, right? Who do you need to be to become the champion so you need to be? What do you need to do to get the results that you want to have, okay? Just doing, just working, just keeping busy is not going to get you what you have, what you want to have, right? The life that you want to have, the freedom you want to have, the time that you want to have with your kids and your family, right? The mental strength that you want to have. You need to combine who do you need to be and who do you need to become, right? And honestly, fake it until you make it, right? Who do you need to be in your head as a champion CEO? What do you need to do as a champion CEO, which we talked about today, to get what it is that you want to have? All right, guys, we'll catch you in the flip. Catch you later. Talk to you soon. Please comment below how this resonated with you. What are some of the things your takeaways from here? What are you doing differently? Okay, Tim, Curtis, okay, Billy, Alex, Adam, Jeff, okay, everybody on this call today. Please comment below if you want to get some more help and what insights you got out of today. All right, we'll catch you later. Ciao.